My son found a hidden playground where children go missing. My son Eli found it one day while walking a trail in between two schools. It was a small patch of green surrounded by tall pines and myrtles all around. I didn't remember seeing it any time previously during our walks, but the place looked rather old. There wasn't much to it, just some swings, a jungle gym and a single slide. But Eli wanted to go and play immediately. Something about the place felt immediately wrong to me. It was too quiet. Too still. There was a slow fog drifting along the grass. Eli, be careful. I called out. Of course, being only 3.5, he didn't listen. So I sat on the bench nearby and watched him play. I took out my phone to check Facebook and Twitter, telling him we could stay for maybe 15 minutes at the most. I needed to shoot a few messages to my mechanic and insurance company, so admittedly I was absorbed in business. As my eyes occasionally glanced up to make sure he wasn't getting hurt, I saw someone else standing there just on the outskirts of the playground. He was a tall man wearing a perfectly ironed white shirt and pressed dark pants. He was just standing there, staring. Watching us. Eli, we need to get home. I called out. The man was making me uncomfortable. My son whined but listened to me as we continued down the trail. The man didn't stop watching us until we were out of sight. Mom, I didn't want to go, Eli said as we made it back to the SUV. He climbed in through my side to get the back seat. We can come back another day, buddy, I told him. Truth be told, I didn't want to go back to that playground at all. Everything about it was giving me a very bad vibe. But I don't like lying to Eli, and I figured that as long as the weird guy wasn't there it would be harmless. So the next weekend I walked him back there and let him enjoy it. He was smiling from ear to ear. I noticed also there were other children running about, so that put me at ease. But then as I watched I also noticed that none of their parents were there. These are 5-year-olds or younger. How could any parent worth a grain of salt just let them wander out here? This trail isn't exactly well known. In fact, before we found the playground I would say I almost never saw anyone. So where were these kids coming from? Their laughter was more intoxicating than the fog. I tried to approach one of the children, to ask them their name, but they were too shy. In fact, they all seemed adverse to even talking to me altogether. I got that uneasy feeling in my gut again, and called Eli to leave. This time he was even more upset. I don't want to leave. I hadn't seen him this mad since he was sick and I had promised to let him play outside. Probably the last time I had failed to keep my word. Buddy, we can't stay here forever. Come on, I insisted. But Eli wouldn't listen. He ran to the top of the slide and sat down defiantly. I hated to be mean, but I didn't want this habit to continue, so I snatched him down and scolded him. Don't run away from me like that. I told him. Eli looked confused. I knew he still didn't understand why he had to always listen to me. It broke his heart when we left. The other kids just stopped and stared as we walked away. Like they were sad to see him go too. Another day, Eli told me that he missed his friends. Which one, sweetie? I asked. At the hidden playground, he said. The name he gave it was disconcerting but fitting given the fact that it did seem hard to find. In fact, when Eli wasn't with me I couldn't find it at all even when I tried. I don't think we should go back there again, but it doesn't seem safe. That equipment is rather old, I told him. I tried to reach a compromise and tell him I could take him to one of the other parks around town, but Eli wouldn't listen. It's special. He whined. He was getting to be temperamental, and as much as I wanted to make him happy, my instincts told me to put my foot down. I just want you to be safe, I told him as he cried in my arms. Eli didn't talk to me for a few days. I guess he figured the silent treatment would change my mind. But I kept firm and didn't even go toward the trail again. Eli got sadder and sadder, refusing to even eat or sleep. All he seemed to care about was going back to that place. It made me worried. Was there something wrong with him? He was always in his room and rarely came out. Finally, I gave in and told him we could go back one last time. You should have seen his face light up. Like a kid at Christmas. He was so happy as we made it toward the creepy swings. But my defenses immediately returned when I saw the tall stranger nearby. Why was he always here, watching these children play? Eli, stay close where I can see you, I told my son. The man was approaching and offered to push him on the swing. Don't touch my boy, I warned the stranger. Mom, I'm gonna be okay, Eli said in frustration. For 3 years old he always acted like he was 30. He is safe with me, the stranger agreed. I'll call the cops, I said angrily. But the man paid me no mind. He helped my son into the swing and began to push. The smile on Eli's face was so big, I was a mix of emotions trying to decide how best to handle the situation. Look how happy he is here, the stranger said as he stepped away from Eli and then gestured to the other children nearby. They hadn't been there a moment before. They all are, he added. The way he said it made a chill run up and down my spine. Their laughter kept echoing in the still air. What is this place? I asked. I keep them safe until they are ready to move on, stranger explained softly. He was looking at Eli and seeing him laugh. It sounded so perfect. Move on? I repeated. His words made sense, but they sounded hollow and distant. When they are ready, they stay here, he added. I felt my mouth go dry. My son got off the swing and chased after some of the other kids. Stay? He can't stay, I said desperately. My hands were shaky. I felt paralyzed. I called to Eli to leave, but he wouldn't listen. It's okay to let go, the man insisted. He touched my hand and smiled. Eli ran up next to me and tugged at my pants. Mommy, there's a tree house and a merry-go-round. Can I go, Mommy? Can I? I don't think I can remember a time he was happier. I got down on my knees and ruffled his hair. Under the hairline I saw the scar that ran across his head from where the car had struck him. The truth hit me like a ton of bricks and tears welled up in my eyes. It was time to let go. Sure, bud. Go have fun. He hugged me as tight as he could and then ran toward the tree line. The man followed behind and then nodded toward me. Thanks. A moment later they were gone. I stood there a moment longer, transfixed by the sights I had just seen. Watching as the swings and the slides faded away. until nothing was left besides the green grass. I go by there from time to time now, to lay flowers down. Sometimes I see another parent doing the same, and we share a bond of silence over our loss. And sometimes I hear the children laughing and I know they are where they are meant to be.